Happy Thursday, everyone. Going to kick off this live right away. And just a quick note before we kick this off, if this live hits home for you and you're a seller, you're an AE, doesn't matter if you're in software or manufacturing. I'm very, very passionate about this topic and about protecting AEs and sellers and helping them up-level their skills and really get to grips with what's happening in the market. So don't overthink it, just DM me, we can have a quick conversation. So this is about becoming a top 5 to 10% seller in the age of AI. I know we're seeing lots of information about AI and what it's doing in the marketplace. And the last week has really been an eye-opener for me. Like, I've had the opportunity to see actually some of the things that are coming down the pike. I've also been solicited, by the way, by AE companies. I'll tell you a little bit about that in a second. But it is absolutely essential that we get to grips with what's happening in the market and that we also up-level our skills and just start doing some different things in our organizations, in our day-to-day work, and make some mental shifts so that we get into the top 5 to 10% of sellers. Like, I cannot stress this enough. It is super important that we understand this and we really grasp this concept and that we run with it and we take it seriously, because this is a real issue in our industries. So I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to read an article like I always do. So you know it's not just my opinion. It's coming from people that are much, much smarter than me, supposedly, and that have all the research and everything behind them. So this is coming from an article in Harvard Business Review, and they're talking about AI in the workplace. So what it's saying, excuse me, I'm reading from my phone. So it's saying that companies are laying off workers or slowing hiring, which I know that we're seeing this now, and slowing decision-making, and we're seeing this now. Jennifer Fino, I think she commented about this, that decisions are coming much, much slower, and this is all tied into AI. So they're slowing decision-making not because AI has delivered measurable productivity gains, so it's not proven as of yet, but executives expected to do so in the future. They surveyed more than 1,000 global executives, and they found that only a small share of layoffs were directly linked to proven AI performance. So it's not yet to the point where it's proven, where they have measurable results and so forth, but this is the anticipation of it. Yet, a majority of organizations are reducing headcount, holding back hiring, and making decisions in anticipation of AI's impact. So this is Harvard Business Review that's saying this. So it's very interesting. I had a really great conversation with a gentleman the other day, very, very smart guy. He has a book out about marketing, and I will drop his name below if you want to look him up. His name is he's from Pitch Kitchen. So anyways, we had a really great conversation, and we want to be AI enabled, but we don't want to give all of our thinking and all of our decision-making over to AI, right? We just can't do that. We need to be AI enabled, and we need to be able to use AI to up-level our skills and to make what we do more effective, right? And we need to know the difference. So what has AI done thus far? Like, what has it proven that it can do? So what it has proven is that it can do research, it can write emails, terribly in some cases, but it's doing that. It can write emails, it can send emails out, it can do call summaries, it can do some call analysis, etc. All of those things that I just mentioned are now commoditized. So the things that we used to do as sellers, doing the research, doing the call reviews, and all these kinds of things that manually, it's being devalued if it can already be done by AI and automation. So these things it's already been proven that AI can do these things. So the value in that for us as sellers has gone down. It means that we can no longer bring these things to the table and think that we should be paid for it. It just doesn't work like that, right? So it's commoditized those things, and it's made the gap between the top 10% of sellers and everybody else very wide and very, very obvious. So what do we need to do? So the top 5 to 10% of sellers are doing different things, And I'm going to name a couple of things, and then I'm going to go a little bit deeper into one of the areas, which is the whole psychology mindset piece, right? I know it feels woo-woo, but it's very important that we understand where we are and how we got here and how we're going to be able to compete in the future and how we can serve our customers better, right? Because that's what we're here in the first place. Okay. So the top 5% of sellers are not just repeating facts. We're not just asking run-of-the-mill questions. We're actually creating context, number one. We are reframing problems, number two, and we are surfacing tension, okay? Within the discovery process or within the problem identification process when we're talking to our customers, if there is no tension and there is no emotional investment, then we have no deal. There's no opportunity there, right? And so a lot of us have gotten into this flow where we're asking questions and so forth, but we're ignoring the emotional part, right? I said before, and I'll keep beating this drum, 85% of all purchases are made emotionally. I don't care what you're selling. It doesn't matter if you're selling widgets, joint expanders, valves, whatever. 85% of all purchases are made emotionally. And then we back up that decision with logic. So if we're not addressing what constitutes the bulk of the decision making, and we're spitting out all these facts, it sounds very logical, but humans are not logical beings by nature. We are emotional beings. And so we need to add that in the mix when we're talking to our customer. We need to surface that. And then we also need to surface the tension. What happens if this doesn't happen? Like, what is the cost of staying the same? What is the cost to the business? What is the personal cost? What is the cost to someone's reputation maybe inside the organization? Things along these lines. So here's a great example of surfacing tension and identifying the problem and tying the two together. So you're in conversation with your buyer, you're having conversations and you're saying, okay, sounds to me like you don't have a tool problem, you have a prioritization problem, right? And this is one thing that I talk about when I'm coaching my clients, my sellers all the time. I'm telling them that they need to get to the problem quickly, and then they need to validate it, and then you need to go into that discussion with your buyer. So we need to understand what they have at risk, what might be missing, and then we need to validate with them and then go down that rabbit hole, right? Not just ask a bunch of unrelated questions like we're shooting off into space. And the buyer, that's when they disengage, right? It's not that buyers don't want to be in conversation with us. It's that they've been in surface level conversations with sellers for so long, for so many years, like we dug this hole and we need to get ourselves out. So saying that buyers don't want to be in discussion or discovery with us is not true. It's just that they don't want to do the old system, the old way, the way that we've been doing it. They don't want to be in that kind of discussion, right? They want to be in the discussion where they know where we're going. They know we're focused on their issues and we're going to surface new information, new problems, and we're going to be in problem solving mode with them. Those are the kinds of conversations that seal deals. Those are the kinds of conversations that get you to hit quota every single quarter with regularity. So these are the kind of conversations that we need to have. Also, we need to interpret and not just do the research. We can do the research with AI, right? So I'm coming out with a couple of custom GPTs that's going to help you with this. But we want to do the research, but then we have to take that research and interpret it and apply it to our customer's business, right? So we're doing the research, we're doing the interpretation, and then we're applying it and validating it with our buyer. So these are some of the things that the top 5 to 10% of sellers are doing. And quite frankly, I see very, very few sellers that are actually doing this on a regular basis, right? This is something that needs to be practiced. It's something that we need to get sharper at, get better at. We can't just be in 45 minutes of research and not understand the problem that we're looking for, or understand the problem that our buyer may potentially need solved, right? We need to come to the call with something. We need to come to the table with something. And in the age of AI, we just need to do it faster. So the tool that I'm putting together is going to help you do that. So we're going to help our buyer connect the dots inside their business, and we're going to surface risk to the business to them personally, to the reputation, to all of these things, to this decision-making process. What happens if nothing happens? Okay. Now, the other part of this that I really, really want to focus on, and this is a big part of the reason why we're in the situation that we're in as sellers. It is because our psychology and our mindset is just not where it needs to be. And it's not our fault in many, many cases. In most cases, it's not our fault. It's what's been reinforced and how we've been taught since in a lot of cases since we were childhood. Like I was the same way. So here's a great example. Most of us went to school, public school, private school, doesn't make a difference. But we were trained from when we were younger to raise our hand, ask for permission, stand in line, these types of things, right? So we're waiting for validation. We're waiting for someone to give us permission. And during 8 to 12 years of schooling, that sinks into the psyche a little bit, right? And we are not encouraged to take risks, ask questions, push back, do all of these things. Now, in a perfect world, in the world that we were in previous to the last couple of years, that was fine. It worked well for us because, we have to have discipline. We're in our day-to-day, like I get it. But in the era that we're in now, when we don't want to compete with automation, but we want to make AI and automation work with us so that we can make our organizations better and make our company better. This adversity to risk taking is hurting us in our jobs, in our roles as sellers, and it's definitely hurting us with respect to our buyers. So I say this because all of the AEs that I have coached and all of the sales managers, like all, they're not afraid, but they are very averse to doing something or saying something that they perceive the buyer may push back on or be offended by. And the era that we're in requires that we take more risk in those areas, okay? So we need to push back, challenge assumptions, both in our own organizations and when we're talking to our buyers. We need to challenge processes, right? So lots of the processes that I see, because this is one of the things that I ask to see when I'm coaching someone, bring me your sales process. Let me see what it looks like. Challenge the processes if it doesn't look right. Challenge some of the things that we're doing, like qualification gates and all of these things. How fast are we moving the deal along? Slow it down. We're rushing so hard because we're in such a scarcity mode that we're afraid to slow it down. So we're rushing through the deals. We need to surface risk to revenue, both with our buyers and inside our own organizations. We need to challenge some of the processes that we have internally. So this risk-taking adversity, this mindset of I want to be safe is no longer safe. It just isn't. And the last conversation I had, the last coaching conversation that I had, I asked him, I said, why didn't you ask X question? And we went around and around in a circle like that. I said, okay, all I want to know is what question could you have asked and why did you not ask that? And it came out that he's like, I didn't know if it would turn my buyer off or it just felt very uncomfortable to me. And I can't tell you how many conversations I have like this. And I had another one just the other day about this. Even CEOs, CROs are somewhat risk averse. So in a lot of cases, as sales managers, I'm here to tell you we're coaching more for compliance and we're coaching more for safety and getting the revenue now, what we think is safe, but it's no longer safe. Do you see what I'm saying? We're operating in a totally new environment that requires us to liberate our minds from the handcuffs that we put on our brains. And as sales managers, we've done sellers a disservice by chaining them to a rigid process and not really coaching to the realities and not really doing like real pipeline reviews, a real deal review with our sellers that's going to allow them to learn and help them close more deals faster, right? Your sales manager coming to you and saying, how come this isn't closed yet? Can we give them a discount and it will close faster? Is not going to advance that deal quicker. And more to the point, it's not helping our sellers either. So if you're an AE and your sales manager is doing this, it is not helping you. It's not helping you learn. It is not helping you advance your reputation in the market. It's not helping you with your value in the market. And it's not helping you learn. It's not helping anyone. So when your sales manager comes to you and tells you, let's give them a 10% discount and the deal will close faster or something along these lines, you need to push back, even if it feels uncomfortable. And I get it. It will feel uncomfortable, especially if you're a more risk-averse person. Like I'm not, but that's just me, right? I'm not. But most people are very risk-averse, and it takes a little more doing. It takes a little more coaching, a little more help, a little more pushing to have someone actually push back when their manager is asking them questions. They don't really have the psychological safety in the workplace to be able to do that, but that's a whole nother live. That's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, in the AI era that we're in, we have to do different things. We have to take more risks. We have to ask what's perceived as more risky questions. Now, is there a way to frame these questions or frame the conversation going forward to where you have the latitude to ask these types of questions? There is. I don't have time to go through it now. I will be putting some more content out to help you with that. And if you want help with that, please DM me and we can have a conversation. But there's a way to open your conversations with your buyers every single time that's always consistent, that is going to present you as a trusted advisor, number one. And number two, it's going to give you the latitude, and it's going to ask the tough questions and to push back, and it's going to lower the bar. It's going to lower their walls, right? Because a lot of times our buyers, when we come on the call with them, they're expecting us to do what? They're expecting us to sell them, which is what most of us do, instead of really trying to get to the root of the problem, fix the root cause, and help them see their problems in a new way and help them understand what's at risk if they don't fix it. Whether it's with your solution or not, and it very well may not be, but if it isn't, then we can still be of help to that buyer by recommending someone else or sending them some other resource or whatever. So in the age of AI, our job is to get into the top 5 to 10% of sellers. I just want to be so crystal clear about that. It is super important. One of the other reasons that I'm doing this is because over the last 2 weeks, I have been solicited by about 5 organizations that wanted me to help them train their AI models on things like discovery, having conversations, qualification gates, all these things. Okay. Of course, I said no to this because that's not my lane, and that's not what I want to have happen. But I'm just here to tell you the urgency of this. Like, it is so important that we up-level our performance. Like your boss, your sales manager, your VP of sales, your CRO is never going to tell you that they need a revenue creator and they don't need another yes person. They need someone that can think independently, think outside the box. Like, I hate that term, but whatever. Think differently, cause the buyers to think differently, get a little uncomfortable internally and get used to that, and put it to good use and implement it inside their business. Those are the types of people that they need. They don't need more yes people. If you're just checking all the boxes and you're doing everything that's required of you, yes, technically you're doing your job, but you're not doing what's required to get attention from the people that you need to get attention from to up-level your value in the market, in this AI-driven market, and to get into the top 5 to 10% of sellers. Like 10% now is baseline, 5% is optimal. Like, that's where you want to be. Okay. So your job as a seller is to get into the top 5 to 10%. It is going to help you protect your positioning instead of protecting your pipeline. So we're protecting our positioning in the market and in our organizations by doing that. Okay. So if this hit home for you, I'm very passionate about this topic, as you can tell. please DM me top 5%. I will know exactly what you're talking about. We can have a conversation on the back of this. I'm going to be doing a webinar on the 9th of March. I will post that probably in a couple of days. And that is really going to help you get to grips with all this AI stuff, with the tools. It's going to help you accelerate into the top 5 to 10% of sellers if you're not there already. Okay, so that's all I have for today. Thank you for being here. I honor you for being here. It's a new era. Let's run into this new era with better skills and a better understanding, or at least start shifting our mindset to where we're more competitive. We are no longer that risk-averse person, and we're not just doing the safe thing, which in today, in the AI-driven market, is no longer safe, okay? So thank you so much. Have a great Thursday, and I will see you next week. Bye now.